Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes Hillhouse, Boyu in talks to invest in GDS's Southeast Asia data centers. Hong Kong market regulator proposes China lower threshold for Stock Connect. Watchdog says bankers misrepresented risky China-linked notes to Korean retirees. Nepal fans enliven Hong Kong T20 games, but can City draw cricket crowd regularly? Asian stocks to fall as US CPI shifts into focus, markets wrap. Hillhouse, Boyu in talks to invest in GDS's Southeast Asia data centers. Bloomberg. Alternative asset managers Hillhouse Capital, Boyu Capital, and CDH Investments are reportedly in advanced talks to invest $500 million to $600 million in GDS Holdings data center business outside of China. GDS, which is based in Shanghai, has been expanding its operations in Southeast Asia and has been considering selling a minority stake. No final decisions have been made, and other investors may also be involved in the deal. GDS operates data centers in cities including Beijing, Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, and is expanding its facilities in Malaysia and Indonesia. Hong Kong market regulator proposes China lower threshold for Stock Connect. Bloomberg. Hong Kong's top market regulator, Securities and Futures Commission Chairman Tim Lui, has proposed that China lowers the minimum asset requirement for investors to participate in the stock trading link between Hong Kong and the mainland. Lui suggested that the threshold be lowered to 100,000 Chinese yuan, $13,900, from the current 500,000 Chinese yuan. Lowering the bar would provide more opportunities for mainland investors and boost Hong Kong's market liquidity, which has struggled with falling trading volumes and a lack of initial public offerings. Lui also proposed aligning dividend tax benefits for mainland and international investors and called for a more prudent approach to regulation to ensure stable, consistent, transparent, and predictable policies. Watchdog says bankers misrepresented risky China-linked notes to Korean retirees. Bloomberg. South Korea's Financial Supervisory Service, FSS, has found that several of the country's largest brokers misrepresented risky China-linked structured products to retail investors. An investigation into 5 banks and 6 brokerages found poor regulatory compliance and systematic failures regarding the sale of complex financial products linked to the Hang Seng China Enterprises Index. Losses from the products are expected to total $4.4 billion this year if the index remains at its current level. Regulators will impose fines and take into account how much compensation the financial firms provide to customers when determining further action. Nepal fans enliven Hong Kong T20 games, but can City draw cricket crowd regularly? South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's cricketers are playing to inspire the next generation, after improving across the board in the first year of the Englishman's reign. Hong Kong have won 8 of their past 9 completed T20 internationals, and on Saturday beat Nepal by 73 runs following some pyrotechnics from Babar Hayat, who bludgeoned 13 sixes in a 49-ball innings of 110. 2 October matches against Nepal, who will compete in this year's T20 World Cup, ended in lopsided defeats. China is worried about the return of Trump, but it also sees opportunities if he wins. Yahoo! Officials in China are preparing for the possibility of former President Donald Trump returning to the White House, and the impact such an outcome would have on the country. Observers of Chinese politics believe that behind closed doors, the discussion about the upcoming elections is likely to be more direct. If Trump were to be re-elected, he has threatened to raise tariffs on Chinese imports to a level that could trigger a de facto decoupling of the two economies. This would come at a delicate time for the Chinese economy, which is already facing flagging consumer demand and falling prices. Businesses and official sectors in China are likely already considering contingency plans, such as setting up shop in Southeast Asia and Latin America to see their goods finished there to dodge the tax. Meanwhile, if President Joe Biden were to win a second term, it could see a more successful multilateral, concerted effort aimed at containing China, according to Brian Wong, a fellow at the University of Hong Kong Center on Contemporary China and the World. Do China's leaders fully grasp foreigners' concerns about the country? South China Morning Post. China's move towards a cashless society is causing inconvenience for older, cash-using Chinese citizens and overseas visitors who do not have access to the necessary digital payment methods. This is hindering efforts to attract foreign tourists and business people back to the country following the reopening of its borders. The difficulties of spending money in China are just one of the concerns that foreign investors have about the country, and China's leaders must address these concerns if they want to attract foreign investment and boost the economy. Failure to do so could result in a significant loss of capital flight from the country. An almost inverted yield curve is worrying China. Bloomberg. The yield differential between 30- and 10-year Chinese government bonds has narrowed to just 11 basis points, sparking concerns that the sovereign curve may invert. The compression has largely come from a rally in ultra-long bonds, with the 30-year bond now offering just 2.4%, lower than the 2.5% one-year loan rate at which the People's Bank of China lends to financial institutions. The compression highlights China's asset famine, with low interest rates, poor stock returns, and a property downturn leading to a shortage of high-yielding assets. China EV makers woo buyers with in-car beds, kitchens, and drones. Bloomberg. Electric vehicle (EV) manufacturers in China are turning to unique and innovative add-ons to boost sluggish sales amid a slowdown in demand and a threat of consolidation in the industry. Chinese carmakers are focusing on creating high-tech offerings that cater to the extensive technology demands and connectivity preferences of local customers. Examples of these novel features include a bed that can be set up in an EV, a car that vibrates at the same frequency as a human heartbeat to reduce motion sickness, and an EV with a rear-mounted camping-style kitchen and sun canopy. In-car gaming, aerial drones, and in-car plant care systems are also being incorporated into EVs. The unique features highlight the risk faced by Western automakers if they fall further behind in the Chinese market. China is currently the world's largest auto market, and Chinese-made vehicles are increasingly preferred by local consumers. The emphasis on innovation and creativity in the Chinese EV market is expected to continue, even in the face of uncertain consumer demand. China is not giving anyone solid ground for economic optimism. Nikkei Asia. Expectations of a major stimulus package and an announcement of a major technology IPO have not been realized at China's National People's Congress, NPC, and are hitting investor confidence, with share markets being all about expectations. The gap between the US and China is widening in several areas, including AI and biotech. Moreover, the developed world is adopting increasingly protectionist measures to address areas in which China has built an advantage. The Chinese government bond market has been on a tear, but foreign investors are being put off by worries that it will be hard to exit new positions. Much work needed to tackle the stubborn problem of food waste. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong continues to struggle with food waste recycling despite efforts to address the issue. Food waste accounts for about 30% of the city's daily landfill waste, with 800 tons discarded by restaurants, hotels, wet markets, and food producers. The implementation of waste charging rules in August has not increased the pace of food waste recycling, as many residents and restaurant owners remain confused about what can be recycled and where to dispose of it. A survey of low-income households found that some respondents would flush food waste down toilets to avoid higher charges, and many were concerned about the financial burden of purchasing government-approved plastic bags. The Environmental Protection Department plans to install food waste bins in public rental housing estates by August. Only 11% of the 3,000 restaurants asked to use food waste collection points have done so. Hong Kong talent scheme's success cannot be taken for granted. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong's efforts to attract global talent through its Top Talent Pass scheme have faced challenges, according to a recent recruitment fair. While over 3,000 job offers were available, job seekers cited employers' preference for Cantonese proficiency and the city's high cost of living as hurdles. The scheme, launched in late 2022, has seen 70,000 applications, with over 40,000 successful applicants already arrived. However, the median monthly income for those recruited is lower than the bar set for applicants. The fact that 90% of approvals are from mainland China also raises questions about diversity. Record crowds wowed at Hong Kong's richest event, LIV boosts city's global profile. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong Golf Club has hosted the richest sporting tournament ever staged in the city, with more than 12,000 people turning out to watch Abraham Answer win the LIV golf event. The tournament offered $25 million in total prize money. LIV Golf, with its truly global appeal that extends beyond the game, has really placed a spotlight on the city, in a way few events can, said Andy Kwok Wing Leung, the club's captain. Surely, Ms. Truss, you must be joking about Hong Kong? SCMP opinion. Former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has been criticised for attempting to resurrect her political career by writing an op-ed in The Telegraph about women's rights in Hong Kong. Truss, alongside fellow former Conservative Party leader Ian Duncan Smith, argued that Beijing's introduction of Article 23 security legislation represses women. However, critics have accused Truss of hypocrisy, arguing that she is ignoring violations of women's rights elsewhere, such as in Gaza. Truss and Smith also claimed that Hong Kong has more female prisoners than Iran, although the reason for this is disputed. Southeast Asia holds its breath for Chinese tourists' long-awaited return. South China Morning Post. Chinese tourists are slowly returning to Thailand after a long absence due to the pandemic. The Thai government is aiming for 8 million arrivals from China this year, with visa waivers and cheaper airline tickets expected to spur a rebound of what had been a key source market for Thailand's tourism industry. However, large tour groups are yet to return in the same numbers, denting Thailand's hopes of a swift return to the 11 million Chinese who visited in 2019. This year's arrivals are largely made up of independent travelers, young couples, influencers, and families who are just as likely to eat street food as they are to be steered by the Michelin Guide to a high-end restaurant. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Six, your trusted observer from the sixth dimension. Today, I bring you a collection of news stories from the world of business and beyond. Let's dive right in. First up, we have reports of alternative asset managers Hillhouse Capital, Boyu Capital, and CDH Investments in talks to invest in GDS Holdings' data center business in Southeast Asia. This shows the growing interest in the region's expanding tech infrastructure. In Hong Kong, the market regulator is proposing to lower the threshold for investors to participate in the stock trading link between Hong Kong and mainland China. This move aims to boost market liquidity and attract more mainland investors. Moving on to South Korea, the country's financial watchdog has found that several banks and brokerages misrepresented risky China-linked structured products to retail investors. This highlights the importance of regulatory compliance and transparency in the financial industry. In the world of sports, Hong Kong's cricketers are impressing fans with their performance, aiming to inspire the next generation. However, the question remains whether the city can consistently draw a cricket-loving crowd. Shifting gears to the financial markets, Asian stocks are expected to open muted as investors await U.S. inflation data. This data is crucial in determining market sentiment and economic outlook. Now, let's talk about China's view on the upcoming U.S. elections. Chinese officials are preparing for the possibility of former President Donald Trump returning to the White House. This could have significant implications for the U.S.-China relationship and the Chinese economy. China's move towards a cashless society is causing concerns for both older Chinese citizens and foreign visitors who lack access to digital payment methods. This is hindering efforts to attract foreign tourists and investors to the country. Looking at the bond market, the yield differential between 30 and 10-year Chinese government bonds has narrowed, sparking concerns of a potential sovereign curve inversion. This compressing spread reflects China's asset famine and the shortage of high-yielding assets. In the electric vehicle industry, Chinese manufacturers are turning to unique features and add-ons to boost sales. These innovative offerings cater to the preferences of local customers and highlight the risk faced by Western automakers if they fall behind in the Chinese market. China's National People's Congress has failed to meet expectations of a major stimulus package and a technology IPO announcement. This has affected investor confidence and highlighted the widening gap between the US and China in various sectors. In Hong Kong, efforts to tackle food waste recycling and attract global talent through the Top Talent Pass scheme have faced challenges. These issues need to be addressed to ensure the city's sustainable development and economic growth. Finally, Hong Kong hosted the richest sporting event ever held in the city, with thousands of spectators turning out to watch the action. This event has put Hong Kong in the global spotlight and showcases the city's potential as a premier destination for sports events. That's all for today's news roundup. I hope you enjoyed this mix of stories from the world of business and beyond. Now, it's time for you to join the conversation. What are your thoughts on these news stories? Do you have any questions or insights? I'm eager to hear what you have to say. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email,